Without objection, the amendment is considered as read. I reserve a point of order. The gentleman from New York is recognized for 5 minutes to explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This amendment details and enumerates exactly what the subpoena requested and exactly what the Department of Justice has done in response to that subpoena. And I will summarize that the subpoena of February 12th requested all documents and communications, including audio and video recordings, related to the special counsel's interview of President Biden, as well as the special counsel's interview of Mark Zwanitzer, who is the ghostwriter of President Biden's book or books. 3, the documents identified as A9 and A10 in Appendix A of Mr. Herr's report. And 4, all communications between or among representatives of the Department of Justice, including the Office of Special Counsel, the Executive Office of the President, and President Biden's personal counsel referring or relating to Mr. Herr's report. Obviously, it goes almost without saying that that last request is completely improper, would be deliberative process and executive privilege, although I don't think they determined executive privilege, but there is no basis for Congress to get internal communications within the Department of Justice about decisions they have made. And if you have any question about that, you should go refer back to your favorite former president and his administration, where they use that repeatedly. In response to the subpoena, the special counsel, or rather the Department of Justice, provided the unredacted report, as you know, the transcripts of the interviews of President Biden and Mr. Zwanitzer, provided the documents identified as A9 and A10. So really the only thing that could even be considered as a legitimate request that the Department of Justice withheld is the audio recording of the 2 interviews, about which there already is a transcript. And so the question that this amendment begs is, if the majority thinks that giving substantially the entire subpoena response, responding with substantially everything that the subpoena asks for warrants contempt of Congress, what does the majority think about somebody who, I don't know, refuses to respond to a subpoena altogether? Maybe Chairman Jordan has a response to that? Mr. Biggs? Mr. Perry? Because I'm pretty sure that they each received duly authorized subpoenas, and I appreciate that the gentleman
yield?
Georgia, in 1 sec, I will. I appreciate that the gentle lady, I will, 1 second. The gentle lady from Georgia, with her esteemed legal knowledge, determined that the January 6th committee was not a legitimate committee, when unfortunately a number of actual courts of law determined that it was. So those subpoenas to members of Congress were duly authorized subpoenas. And if Merrick Garland is going to be held in contempt and is going to be threatened with inherent contempt and sent to a non-existent jail in the basement of the Congress, then what is going to happen to those witnesses who just outright defy congressional subpoenas? Because I do think the majority ought to be careful about the precedent that it sets, because, Ms. Luna, I am happy to reinstitute right now with you inherent contempt. And I can assure you that when you consult with the rest of your party, nobody will want it, because it will be much, much worse for you than for the Democrats.
Will the gentleman yield?
I'm happy to yield, yes.
I'd just like to point out that inherent contempt or contempt, as to my understanding, can't be brought forward in a new Congress, even if it's been a past violation. I know because I actually inquired on Cohen today.
Oh,
so just
no,
so you're aware.
I'm not suggesting that we bring inherent contempt
just to clarify,
for any past subpoenas. I'm talking about the precedent that you are.
Are you now willing to yield,
Mr. Biggs? Yes,
Mr. Chair. Thank you for yielding to me. First of all, you made a personal reference again to Mr. Jordan, about myself. and about Mr. Perry, which we had agreed that we wouldn't do. But I'm going to respond to you. We asserted that we had not received service. And
Okay.
that's how we responded.
So your response
End of
is that
story.
you didn't receive service of the subpoena. I just want to be clear. That's why you didn't comply?
Gentleman's time's expired. Gentleman's time's expired.
I thought so. I'll yield.
Do any other members wish to speak on the Goldman amendment? Mr. Chair recognizes Mr. Fry from South Carolina for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I oppose this amendment by Mr. Goldman. Mr. Goldman's amendment is just an attempt to distract from the very obvious